Eugene Field's cottage has been in Washington Park for 75 or 80 years. We've been the stewards of it since about 1969. If you walk inside, you can still see the bookshelves, and many of the books are still here. And a lot of the artwork that was here when it was his home is still here. The Eugene Field's house was originally on Colfax Avenue, and Molly Brown bought it up and gave it to the city and county of Denver, specifically to Parks and Recreation, so long as they kept it in a public park. That statue right there is Wink and Blink and Nod, and that is one of his most famous poems. So a lot of people, they know the poem, and they know that that's why it's right next to our building.
My mother writes poetry. I used to read it, and I still read it occasionally. Rod McEwen was my favorite, and he was way after all of this. It's really a great block, has its own mystique. Everyone wants Poets Row.
We are in the Colorado State Capitol, first floor rotunda, where we have 8 mural paintings done by Alan True in collaboration with poet Thomas Hornsby Ferril, showing the importance of water to Colorado. Poet laureate is an appointed position by the governor of Colorado. He or she is basically the most celebrated poet of the state, someone who needs to reside in the state when they have that title. Mr. Ferril, poet laureate of Colorado, collaborated to talk of the importance of water to our state and to the American West. They start with Native Americans, go through the settlers, the industrial era, and then to what the artists thought the future would be. And each panel has 2 lines, and they all talk about the importance of water. The last one is my personal favorite one because it talks about our inability to foresee the future and how technology will change that. And it says, beyond the sundown is tomorrow's wisdom. Today is going to be long, long ago.
My brother and I moved out here in 1968 from Detroit. In about 1970, we were both getting broke, what little money we had, we spent it. And we found this old place here. It was in the worst part of town. This neighborhood here was all empty old buildings. It was just rotting away, The oldest saloon in Denver. Started in 1873. Kerouac, I got this letter here from Cassidy. He wrote this letter to his friend to come and pay his beer tab here, where his brother tends bar in the 50s. His beer tab for about $3. And Cassidy's brother was a bartender here too. Neil Cassidy wrote this letter to his friend Justin. Dear Justin, at the corner of 15th and Platt Street, there's a cafe called Paul's Place where my brother Jack used to be bartender before I joined the Army. Because of this, I frequented the place occasionally, consequently had a small bill running up to about $3 or $4. If you happen to be in that vicinity, please drop in and pay it, would you? People still come in because of this, This was one of their hangouts, their headquarters type of thing, what I mean? And that's what they were well known for. In fact, I've got a picture on the wall where Cassidy's son and I are standing arm in arm.
His personality is mostly what makes me most interested about him, because he was kind of a crazy guy, and he was the one who kind of brought beat poetry to where it is. Being in the same area that all of these poets lived in is just, it's inspiring to me because, I feel like I'm part of history right here, kind of carrying on into the future what we can do to keep poetry alive. Poetry was where I started out, actually, and that's what got me into writing music, and being able to be in this part of history really helps with that, and see some of the masters' works and how that influences my work has been probably the funnest part about living here.
I've been playing horn for about 12 years now. I want to talk about poetry, to me, being a musician, playing an instrument, speaking a different way, it's like transcending language. I actually live at the Denver House, which is right across the street from the Colburn Hotel. So literally from my balcony, I can look out and see the apartment Jack Kerouac was in. Most of what I know about Jack Kerouac is the lifestyle. So I've been there, I've lived it. You know? It's not necessarily the most pleasant thing in the world, but I respect the man because the amount that he learned and the way that he was able to articulate what he wanted to say is absolutely phenomenal.
A moment of silence.
Hey, yo, peep this.
My stir and bother waters poured forth by the forefathers. My words disturbing drops, the perfect offerings of these poor authors. We the foster children of buildings willing to stand witness to a city whispered into existence, brick by brick to span the distance. Each landmark speaks its unique history as vanguard. Poetry the only key for those who seek to breach the ramparts. Eagerly in motion as it's flowing through the openings. The flood, the blood, the love which keeps free speech beneath its frozen wings. Preserving all that's worthy to quench the thirsty at its center. Returning glimpses of hopes held through the snow melt of Denver winters. They can't hinder a movement which took root in beating hearts. For these streets record the deeds to remember people's art.